Hey, what's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? It's your boy Chris. It's another amazing episode of Financipation. This channel is all about making money. It's all about saving money. It's all about building generational wealth. And it's all about financially emancipating yourself from generational poverty. On this channel, everybody, I give you a six-figure worth of investing in financial knowledge for free here on YouTube. And things that people typically spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to learn in grad school, I give it to you for free here on Financipation. And as a guy who has his MBA, I feel very comfortable telling you that, okay? Also, I want to give a shout out to Killer Solutions. They're one of my sponsors. If you need digital marketing, website development, or something to essentially edit your YouTube videos, they are the best in the business of meeting all of your digital needs, okay? So one of the coolest things I can say about being a financial coach is that there are certain habits that I noticed that I've picked up on, that I've seen, and more importantly, I see that people who are extremely wealthy essentially try to hide their money. And I'm not talking about from a tax perspective. I'm talking about different things that I've noticed that extremely wealthy people that are decamillionaires, that are centimillionaires, that are extremely wealthy, certain things that they do to essentially try to hide how much they make. And the reason why is simple. People, generally speaking, want to be treated like people. They do not want to be put on a pedestal. So if a person is worth lots of money, a lot of times they essentially try to hide what they make because they want people to treat them like a normal human being. It's no different from a police officer, and some of my friends are cops. Essentially, they don't tell people that they're cops when they take their uniforms off because they want to be treated like normal human beings. So with that, let's get started, okay? So the first way you can tell if someone is wealthy, they're trying to hide it, is that they are selfish with their time and they hate when it is wasted. I was once working on a project and where I directly reported to an individual who directly at the time reported to the fourth richest man in the world. For this particular project, I was the senior mechanical engineer and we were building a 1.2 billion with a B dollar project. And whenever I was on a Microsoft Teams meeting with this individual who we were going to call John, and I do a site visit with John, or he flew in from Washington State, John was extremely direct about what he was looking for, what he wanted, and what he expected. He even had it down to the number of steps that he expected me to take with him when he was flying from Washington State. John was also extremely quick to delegate tasks that he felt were beneath him. And for a while, I thought John was a little rude, and also was trying to, and that he was essentially just trying to get out of work. But what I quickly started to realize, however, there was something far different going on. It wasn't that John was lazy or that he was essentially trying to essentially get out of work. John realized that time was the most valuable resource that he had. And when you can charge somebody literally $1 million an hour for your services, which is what this project was doing, it makes literally no sense spending things and doing things that you can pay someone else $10 an hour to do. So I later found out that this gentleman, John, had a net worth of over 500 million with an M dollars, and the project we were working on would make him over $1 million every hour it was open. So the first way you can tell someone is wealthy, but they're essentially trying to hide their wealth, is that they are extremely selfish with their time and they hate when people waste it. Next, the next way you can tell someone is wealthy, but they're trying to hide it, is that they invest into experiences and not into stuff. Hip hop, social media, and television has a lot of people believing that wealthy people waste a lot of money buying expensive cars, flashy jewelry, and flashy clothes. But honestly, from my experience of consulting with decamillionaires and centimillionaires and people who are extremely wealthy, more often than not, that simply is not the case. Wealthy people, everyone, would rather spend $10,000 and sit courtside at an NBA All-Star game instead of blowing $10,000 on jewelry. Wealthy people would rather spend $5,000 and fly their family out to a beautiful Caribbean island and spend about a week with them instead of spending $5,000 on expensive luxury brands or clothes. It may seem counterintuitive, but in general, when wealthy people are not investing their money and essentially being very frugal, wealthy people spare no expenses when it comes to large and expensive experiences, but they don't particularly care for buying a lot of expensive looking things. So instead of spending a lot of money, everyone, on cars, on alcohol, or on jewelry, what I find is that in general, extremely wealthy people instead spend their money on experiences. And the next way you can tell someone is wealthy, but they are trying to hide it, that they invest into experiences for themselves, their grandchildren, and their families, and not into stuff. Next, the next way you can tell someone is wealthy, but they're trying to hide it, is that they rarely, if ever, flaunt their money or talk about their wealth. This is another one of those things that flies directly into the microwave Instagram society that we live in, because it's not really what you would think. Because on the IG and on the gram, everyone is always bragging about how many cars they got, how many clothes they got, how many Birkin bags they got, how many red bottoms they got, and it's how many farms they bought. In general, that's kind of what you see on social media. But in reality, everyone, that is not the case from what I'm saying. America currently has 22 million millionaires, and 1 out of every 11 Americans that you run into actually is a millionaire. What's crazy is that on average, most millionaires drive 7-year-old cars. They do not wear flashy clothes, and they don't wear a lot of flashy jewelry. And I understand that guys like Floyd Mayweather or Donald Trump have you thinking that most millionaires are out here bragging about how much money they have, how many hotels they bought, how much real estate they own, and things like that. But in reality, everybody, the typical millionaire in America prefers to blend in, and you never know that they were wealthy. Honestly, to keep it real with you, if you live in cities like Boston or DC or Philly or Miami or Kansas City and places like that, and you ride the bus or you ride public transportation or the subway, there's a very realistic possibility that the person you were sitting next to every morning with a brown paper bag and a Carhartt coat might be a millionaire. You literally sit next to these people every week at church and you don't have a clue. You can play basketball with them every Sunday at the gym and you don't know that they're millionaires. And you probably lift weights with them and you speak with them every day at the gym and you have no idea this person is worth $4 or $5 million. Because based on their clothes, the cars they drive, and essentially the way they live their lives, you would never know they are worth $7 or $8 million. For comparison's sake, read the book The Millionaire Next Door. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about, okay? The next way you can tell someone is wealthy, but they're trying to hide it, that they rarely, if ever, flaunt their money or talk about their wealth. Why? Because they want to blend in. Next. The next way you can tell someone is wealthy, but they're trying to hide it, is that they tend to be very generous with their money. This is another one of those very, very cool concepts that seems to kind of defy common sense, but I found it works every time. If you're religious, you call it karma or tithing. If you're non-religious and you're agnostic or atheist, you call it the universe. But generally speaking, everyone, people that give away large portions of their income and their money almost always get more in return. I've seen this from Miami to New York. I've seen this from California, Singapore. I've seen this literally from Africa to India. Generally speaking, people that open up their hands and give a lot more money than everyone else, the universe or God rewards them by giving them more money. The next way you can tell someone is wealthy, but they are trying to hide it, is that they tend to be very generous and charitable with their money, particularly for the people and the causes that they believe in. Please hit that notification button so you know when I drop new content. Please hit that like button, comment, share, subscribe. That helps the algorithm, and I thoroughly enjoy giving you guys free content here on Financipation, okay, here on YouTube. Next. The next way you can tell someone is wealthy, but they're trying to hide it, is that they value relationships. Wealthy people, everybody, especially the quiet ones, they tend to be very family oriented. And more often than not, they also tend to be happily married. I find it interesting that people who are quiet millionaires, who are quietly wealthy, they typically spend exorbitantly large amounts of time with their grandkids, their kids, their great-grandkids. They try to teach them the small lessons about life, about how to actually build wealth, whether it's habits, whether it's things that you do, whether you carry yourself. And some of this includes long vacations with their kids and their grandkids. And it also includes long sabbaticals where they basically take them around and kind of teach them and educate them about life. Something that I noticed when I started Financipation and I started studying how actual millionaires work and started working with actual millionaires is that they typically, once again, everyone tend to be happily married. So in my generation, I found it very cool because right now with the manosphere and feminism, things of that nature, there's a humongous push in lots of communities to never get married, don't trust nobody, and to essentially there are no new friends. And to me, I've always found that concept to be absolutely toxic from an emotional standpoint, from a mental standpoint, but the numbers also show it's toxic from a financial standpoint. The studies clearly show everyone that roughly people that are married have 35 times more wealth than people that are single. And the happiest, the most fulfilled millionaires I have ever met were the ones that were growing old with a man or a woman that they loved, who loved them, and when they were surrounded by their kids and their grandkids. The next way to tell if someone is wealthy, but they're trying to hide it, is that they value their relationships. Next way you can tell someone is wealthy, but they're trying to hide it, is that they are not stressed about money at all. This is one of the coolest things that I've noticed, pretty much, that kind of separates the people who essentially have money from those that don't. Because at the end of the day, if something breaks and you can just fix it, that's a pretty cool thing. If you want to buy something nice for your wife or for your kids, and you can buy it, that's a cool thing. If you need a medical or a surgical procedure done and you can just pay for it right then and there, you pay for it right then and there. And you literally never hear wealthy people ever complaining or talking about the economy, about credit card debt, about interest rates, or about how much something costs. They simply roll with the financial punches and the pitfalls that life throws at them. They pay for it, they don't get stressed, and they keep it moving. They also use words like when people ask them, are you wealthy? They say, I'm comfortable. or yeah, we're doing well, or yeah, we can't complain, we're blessed. Those are the kind of words that I find that people who are actually wealthy use. They don't say garbage like I'm an alpha male, or say things like I'm a strong, independent, whoever. No, people that are generally wealthy, in general, they essentially roll with the financial punches and pitfalls of life, and they use words like we're comfortable when they describe their financial situation. So the next way you can tell someone is wealthy, but they're trying to hide it, is that they are not stressed about money in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Next, the next way you can tell someone is wealthy, but they're trying to hide it, is that they invest into their future and they have a long-term view about wealth. So if you watch my channel, Financipation, you'll notice that I rarely ever use the word rich on this channel. I use the word wealth, because wealth is permanent and it lasts multiple generations, whereas rich is temporary and it may not last 1 decade if you get fired. Look no further than professional athletes, actors, entrepreneurs, entertainers who file for bankruptcy a few years after they're no longer popular or can't play anymore. Wealthy people, however, tend to have a much more long-term, well-rounded view of money and of wealth. Wealthy people tend to invest in the pre-K education courses like Human for their children, because they understand the value of teaching your kids how to be ahead of the educational curve in every grade. Wealthy people tend to invest into UTMAs for their children, or 529s. Wealthy people tend to invest into good tutors for their kids as they matriculate through middle school and through high school. Wealthy people invest into personal trainers for their own physical bodies, and possibly dietitians, so they can stay healthy for as long as possible. And wealthy people also tend to invest into careers and educational certifications and trades that pay them higher salaries year after year after year, because they continue to invest into their education. Wealthy people understand the tremendous power of compounding interest, and they invest into low-cost total stock market index funds that they purchase through Charles Schwab, Vanguard, and Fidelity. Because once again, Einstein said it best: in capitalism, compounding interest is the 8th wonder of the world. Next way you can tell someone is wealthy, everyone, but they are trying to hide it, is that they invest into their future and they have a long-term view of money, whether it's their children, whether it's their wealth, whether it's their health, whether it's their investments, and whether it's their own physical bodies. Next, the last way you can tell someone is wealthy, but they're trying to hide it, is that they are content. I kind of touched on this one a little earlier throughout the podcast, but one of the coolest ways to spot a person or people, or man or woman, that is wealthy is that in general, they tend to be very content and happy about the way their lives are going. And the thing that's wild about it is not a number. I've worked with men that literally, they spent their entire life working on construction sites and they amassed a pretty good amount of money. And their idea of, and when they retired on a hunting lodge in the middle of Wisconsin, and they're perfectly comfortable with that. And they're wealthy because they're content. And conversely, I've met billionaires that were literally some of the worst examples of humanity. They had so much money, they could literally buy anything, any person, or any woman or pleasure that they wanted. But they were extremely miserable, unhappy people. And I've also met multimillionaires and decamillionaires that play basketball every day, or they go surfing every morning, and they spend the rest of the day playing with their wives, playing with their kids and their grandkids, watching sunset at night with their families. Because content individuals, everybody, they learn to appreciate the little things in life. And more importantly, they are not ashamed or fearful about how they got their money, or scared that someone's going to come take it, because they got it the right way. The last way you can tell someone is wealthy, but they're trying to hide it, everyone, is that they are content. Before I leave, please check out my podcast, everyone, on index funds and how they can make you a millionaire. And this channel, everybody, is all about making money. It's all about saving money. It's all about building generational wealth. And it's all about financially emancipating yourself from generational poverty. You can book a one-on-one session with me at any point. Links below. I am not giving you financial advice on this channel. You must make responsible decisions based on the thorough independent research that you do for yourself. Thanks for listening, okay? Please check me out, my website, www.therealfinancipation.com. Check out my Instagram, @thereal_financipation. Check out my Spotify, Financipation, my TikTok, Financipation. Additionally, check out my Facebook page, Financipation, as well. And check out my financial blog too, Financipation. Also, please check out some of my digital, my e-products below, and hit that notification button. Please like, please comment, please share, please subscribe, please hit the notification button so you know when I drop new content. I drop new content weekly. And thanks, Helical Solutions, for all of these dope graphics. It's your boy Chris. I'm out. Peace.